Hello soil lovers, Regen Ray here for Farming Secrets, and today I'm at Purple Pear Farm where Mark and Kate are going to take us on a little tour and show you what a farm, they follow permaculture and biodynamics, what 20 years on a property can do, taking it from blank canvas to this amazing oasis that you're about to see with me. Kate and Mark run permaculture classes here, biodynamics classes, they've got nature play. They have now passed a lot of those enterprises onto other people to take care of them, as they've spent the last 20 years setting up this beautiful property that is behind me. And so this is one of the first stops that I am stopping at during my Regen road trip around Australia. So this is a bit of a taste of some of the visits that I will be able to bring you along with. So if you're really enjoying this content, make sure that you like, subscribe and hit the bell for more content like this. We've just been joined by some geese behind me. This is an amazing farm tour. We've been here for the last 4 hours. We've had lunch here and then we've gone around. They follow the mandala system with their growing systems. They have integrated chickens, water, growing, companion planting, everything that you could possibly think about in having an amazing one home that has an abundance of food and yielding just so much food, but then also being able to give boxes of food to other local families, and the amount of community that they've been able to support over the many years, and workshops and getting permaculture design students to come down and help design and learn at the same time. They've got an education centre. We've had a look at some bees. We've had a look at a bit of a dairy setup. It's just amazing what's been able to be achieved in this space. So come on with me and let's go take a look at Purple Pear Farm.
Greens in the height of the drought, because we ran out of water. It was impossible to grow greens out there, and so we grew all our greens for our boxes in these. Actually, going back a step, we established them to grow carrots because the soil here wouldn't take carrots. It was too clayey, too heavy, and so we grew our carrots in the wicking beds. And we found it really beneficial because the carrot would go searching for that water at the bottom, and then it'd drop this really straight root down, and we grew some beautiful carrots in there. But then there came a time when, the carrots grew well in the garden, and so we converted it then to the greens during the drought, and then, that became a bit of an issue, so we did something more perennial and put strawberries and herbs in them.
If I was growing now, I'd still have my lettuce in these ones, have these fixed and have more here so I can put shade over them with these little things.
But you can see that the frames were made out of recycled pallets.
Yeah.
And they're not all that
to bring up too. And when we first moved here, we didn't have our seed. The garden was ready before our seedlings were, so we went and bought some. Don't know where from, just anywhere.
Yeah.
And that bed we put out, and then the next, in 2 weeks' time, ours were ready. We put them out, and all of the ones that we bought were just annihilated by insects, but ours were fine. So that's the health of the plant, and the health of the plant comes from the health of the soil. But if you're getting seedlings that aren't healthy in the first place, of course, healthy soil's not going to be enough.
It's also like where the seed germinates. Is that where it gets a lot of the DNA from its first?
Yeah.
Yeah,
fall,
so
yeah.
saving seeds.
Yeah, so getting really good seeds is important.
Yeah.
And we always have our own or buy in from organic places. So, you know, so the stuff you're getting from wherever we got them, even good nurseries aren't as good as the ones. We make our own potting mix. It's good potting mix. Our own compost goes into that potting mix.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
So this thing it does is it throws shade. So if it didn't have that leader, it wouldn't have a canopy, and it allows for that canopy and it throws shade.
I love that. Sharing tree.
Yeah. And you'll see that this one's not as defined, but you'll see that there's an apple tree over there. See how the bottom part, and we got really nice apples. That's a tropical Dorset, that one.
Yeah.
Nice eating apple. Doesn't last long or anything, but you've got to eat it straight away or preserve it. But so that's the format for that, is to allow for that canopy, allow for the wildlife, and still get a good. The secret to happiness in anything, in personal relationships, in gardening or whatever, is intent, observation and intuition. What we're talking about here is if you're making a compost, think about that compost and what it's going to do for your soil and your plants and that. Don't worry about what the bank manager thinks of you. Be there in the moment with the right intent into the activity that you're doing. You got it? Observation is a key in permaculture and other things, to be observant. You know, there's a lot of what we do can happen naturally, but the one thing that people have over the rest of nature is we can observe and interact, and so observation becomes a key. And the last one is intuition, because the brain is a beautiful tool, but it can stuff up also. And so if you get a gut feeling that something ain't right, at least go back and check your figures, because there are things we know that we don't know we know, and we access that information through our intuition. So with intent, observation and intuition, you've got it all.
I feel like
Thank you.
It does go on a bit longer, but
Weeds from the garden that we don't want to encourage. So most of the weeds stay in the garden, but things like switchgrass and
that's Johnson's grass poking its head up there. We can keep an eye on it here.
so it's easier, fairly easy to
So it spreads with a stolon. If you let it go, that becomes there and there and there and there, and it's all over the place. It also spreads by seed.
The go to leaf.
But in here we can keep an eye on it.
So it all goes along here, and in the end what you do, it's all weeds, there is nothing else in here.
And it what? There's just gold stuff.
There's nothing else but weeds.
yeah.
There's no manures, there's no compost,
This was actually a V. You see the level of the soil there. When we had the mandalas built and the ponds dug, all of the spoil from them ponds went along here to raise this area up, because it was quite boggy, still gets a bit boggy. And so there's a V down to there, and we started filling that V with this stuff. And so now, as Kate said, there's soil that high up. That soil we made makes you feel like God a bit.
Is it a milk?
Yeah, what did your dad say today? Working in God's office.
Spurge. Received grant funding from Australian Government's Community Environment Program, Purple Pear Farm and Slow Food Hunter Valley. We need to protect that a bit better, don't we?
Bit of oil on it, maybe.
Yeah,
That's all it would need, isn't it?
that's what it came. It came oil. And this is the acknowledgement of country. in the Wanneroo language.
Oh, okay.
And the salt bush is spreading. The Dianella is finally coming through. It was very slow to come away. But you know, their breed of Thermida is a lot different to mine. I don't know. They did have a plaque. Oh, Thermida triandra. I think mine's Australis or something.
Isn't it just amazing that 20 years ago, the property you've just seen looked like that? Plain grass, nothing. And now this.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I hoped you enjoyed the tour of Purple Pear Farm. Thank you so much to Mark and Kate for allowing us to visit their farm. We also helped out at a community garden today, and that was super fun. I mowed the lawns, and we all hung out and did a little chore here and there to give a helping hand for the amazing community garden at Swamp Wetlands in the Central Coast of New South Wales. So well done to all the team at Swamp, who have done an amazing job. I've seen the land transform so much over a year, and kudos to you all. So until next time, get outside, get your hands dirty, and keep digging deeper into the wonderful world of soil.